My fingertips touched the cold paper. One slip, two slips, countless slips. Each one was like a knife, cutting into my heart. There was absolute silence below the stage. Lillian stood at the forefront of the crowd, a victor's smile on her lip. She knew the box was full of blank papers. She was waiting to see me make a fool of myself in public and cry bitterly. Sebastian also looked away casually, seeming to have already foreseen the ending. I closed my eyes. My fingers fumbled at the bottom of the box. Finally, my fingertips touched a slip of paper with a slightly different texture. That was the one. I had someone slip in during the chaos before entering, and it was also the final way out I left for myself. I snapped my eyes open. With a strong flick of my wrist, I pulled out that slip of paper.
Young Master Ashfield.
I held up the slip in my hand, my voice clear, spreading throughout the hall.
It seems your promise is about to become invioled.
I have deeply loved Sebastian for a full 8 years. Looking at the photo of Sebastian and me in my hand, I stood before the door and murmured softly,
This is my last chance. This time, can I become Sebastian's fiancée?
At the moment I reached out and was about to open the door, I suddenly froze because I heard Sebastian's mother questioning him with anger and disappointment.
Sebastian, tell me, why, for 7 consecutive years, have you secretly replaced all the slips of paper with your name on them with blank ones? You know perfectly well that if she doesn't draw your name, Eleanor can never become your fiancé. Doesn't it hurt your heart to watch her cry in disappointment every year?
She has been crying for 7 years. One more time won't make a difference. But Lillian just came back from Switzerland, and her emotions are very unstable. I promised to accompany her through her treatment for 7 years.
He then gave a light chuckle.
Anyway, Eleanor and I have been together for 8 years. Her family and friends all think we are definitely getting married. Other than waiting for me, she has no other choice. Don't worry, next year, I will give her a very grand proposal ceremony. Consider it an explanation to her for these past few years. I think she will definitely be very satisfied with this arrangement.
After saying that, he threw the slip of paper with Sebastian Ashford written on it into the paper shredder.
Listen, the sound of this paper shredder is indeed much better than Eleanor's disappointed crying every year.
Standing outside the door, I heard those words and stared blankly at the photo in my hand. Turns out he wasn't blind to my tears, nor was he unaware of my disappointment. These 7 years of blank slips were just a joke he used to trample on my true feelings. I clearly remember the Ashford family's rules. To become Sebastian's fiancée, one must draw a slip of paper from the lottery box at the grand charity banquet. She can only become his fiancée if she draws the slip with his name on it. And for these 7 years, I have tried every possible method just to be able to become his fiancée. I thought he loved me truly, so I did all this willingly. Yet the hidden truth cuts deep and hurts so much. What do all my years striving to be his fiancée count for? It's nothing but a joke. But now, my heart suddenly let go completely. I loosened my grip, letting the slip of paper in my hand fall to the ground, and turned to walk away.
Since your name still isn't in the box for the 8th time, then I will just marry someone else.
Sebastian adjusted his cuffs and left the lounge without a care. He arrived at the banquet hall, which was filled with wealthy people in gorgeous clothes. This was the 8th gala, hosted by the Ashfords, the most powerful family in New York, to select a fiancé for their heir. He walked straight toward Lillian, who was surrounded by a group of wealthy young ladies talking.
Sebastian.
Lillian's eyes were red, looking deeply wronged, and she threw herself into his arms.
They said I have no right to stand here, that I'm the one ruining the relationship between you and Eleanor.
Sebastian frowned deeply, his eyes sweeping fiercely across the entire hall, finally landing on those wealthy young ladies who were gossiping.
Who dares to say she has no right? The rules I, Sebastianov, set are the rules of New York's Upper East End high society. Lillian is an important guest I invited. Whoever makes her unhappy makes me unhappy.
The entire hall instantly became so quiet that even breathing could be heard. In the midst of this silence, the crystal chandelier in the banquet hall suddenly dimmed by half. Only a few wall lamps gave off a faint glow. Immediately after, a beam of cold white spotlight suddenly lit up. I pushed the doors open and walked in. Every step was unhurried and composed. Those wealthy young ladies looked at me. After all, for the past 7 years, I was publicly recognized by everyone as Sebastian's fiancée. and the only woman he allowed to stay by his side constantly. Everyone thought I would definitely make a scene and drive Lillian away, or, like the previous 7 years, question him with red eyes about why he was protecting another woman. But this time, I didn't even give them half a glance. Without stopping, I walked straight toward a waiter in the banquet hall. I picked up a glass of champagne from the waiter's tray and took a small sip. The cold liquid slid down my throat, suppressing the very last bit of affection in my heart.
Eleanor, aren't you going to do something about it?
Someone asked me in a very low voice. I smiled, but there was not a hint of a smile in my eyes.
Young Master Ashfield is standing up for a beauty. Why would I go over there and interfere? Besides,
I swirled the wine glass in my hand, with a bit of a spectator's look in my eyes.
I'm also quite curious to see if Sebastian's name is actually in the raffle box this year.
Sebastian's body instantly stiffened. He subconsciously turned to look at me, as if completely unexpected that I would have this reaction. In the past, at times like this, I would have already been crying and making a scene to drive Lillian away. But today, I was as quiet as someone entirely unconnected to this matter. A flash of impatience crossed his eyes. He let go of Lillian and strode toward me.
Eleanor, what kind of temper are you throwing again? Lillian just came back from Switzerland. Her health is poor and she can't be frightened. You are the eldest daughter of the Walker family. Can't you be a bit broad-minded?
Broad-minded, I looked at this man in front of me, whom I had loved for over a decade. Suddenly, he felt very foreign. 7 years. More than 2,500 days and nights. To cater to his preferences, I put away my own temper and skills, learning to make him French desserts and English afternoon tea. To get his name to appear in that damn box, I bribed the Ashford's butler, curried favor with Sebastian's mother, and exhausted all possible means. And the result? What I got in exchange was his phrase, "Be a bit more broad-minded," and my sincere heart shredded to pieces in the paper shredder.
Sebastian,
I put down the wine glass in my hand. The glass clinked crisply against the marble table.
I am not throwing a temper. I just think you are right. Miss Lillian is delicate and does indeed need someone to properly accompany her through her treatment.
Sebastian was stunned. He stared into my eyes as if trying to find a hint of petulance or jealousy in them. Unfortunately, he found nothing. My heart was completely peaceful, without a single ripple. This feeling of being out of his control made him inexplicably panicked. He reached out, trying to grab my wrist.
It's good that you understand. After tonight next year,
There is no next year.
I turned sideways, dodging his hand. My tone was as flat as if discussing today's weather.
My grandfather said the same thing can only be done at most 8 times. Tonight is the 8th time. If your name is still not drawn, then we are done.
Seeing this, Lillian quickly walked over and stood in front of me.
Eleanor, stop throwing a tantrum and just apologize to Sebastian. He still loves you deep down. It's just that since I returned, my actions have been so unstable, and he is just worried about me. Besides, everyone knows that you would never marry anyone but Sebastian.
As soon as her voice fell, a crisp slap suddenly sounded. My eyes were full of mockery.
When is it an outsider's turn to dictate my affairs?
Sebastian's face suddenly changed, and he stepped directly in front of Lillian.
Eleanor, you have gone too far. Apologize to Lillian.
Apologize? On what grounds? Because she's your darling? Or because she's thick-shitted? Sebastian, have you forgotten that tonight is my home court? As long as the drawing haven't started, I am still your fiancé in name. What's the problem with teaching an outsider who doesn't know the rules a lesson?
The surrounding guests began to whisper. Mrs. Ashford also hurried over upon hearing the commotion. Seeing this scene, she frowned deeply.
What are you arguing about? Isn't this embarrassing?
She glared at Sebastian, then looked at me. Her eyes were complex.
Eleanor, it's almost time for the drawing. Don't let irrelevant people ruin the big event.
Mrs. Ashford liked me very much. She genuinely hoped I could marry into the Ashford family. It was a pity. That good son of hers personally destroyed all of this. Sebastian took a deep breath, suppressing the anger in his heart. He reached out to put his arm around Lillian's shoulder and patted her comfortingly. Then he looked at me, his tone cold.
Fine. Since you want to play so much, let's begin. I want to see the moment you draw a blank slip. whether you can still be as sharp-tongued as you are now.
After saying that, he turned and walked toward the high platform in the center of the hall. There lay an exquisite box. It was also the judgment stand that would decide my fate. I watched his back. My eyes gradually turned cold. Sebastian, you think you control everything.
But little do you know, this time, you are the prey.
In the center of the hall, the crystal lights were dazzling. Everyone's gaze focused on that carved oak box. According to family rules, there were 100 slips of paper placed in the box. Only one of them had Sebastian's name written on it. Drawing it would be the arrangement of fate, resulting in an engagement on the spot. Failing to draw it meant fate hadn't arrived, and we would try again next year. For the past 7 years, every time I reached my hand in full of hope. Every time, what I pulled out was completely blank. I thought it was just my bad luck. I thought it was God testing our relationship. It wasn't until today that I learned that among those 100 slips of paper, Sebastian's name was never there at all. They were all blank papers he had personally substituted.
Eleanor, go on. I specifically asked the priest for a blessing. The priest said, "You will find your beloved this year."
Beloved, perhaps. It's just that this person is not Sebastian.
Lifting my dress, I walked step by step onto the high platform. Sebastian stood next to the box, one hand in his pocket looking proud. The way he looked at me was like looking at an unreasonable child.
Eleanor, as long as you apologize to Lillian now, next year, I promise to let you draw the name. Wouldn't even need to wait until next year. As long as you behave and stop targeting Lillian, I can consider ending this game early.
Game. In his eyes, these 7 years of torment, my youth, my dignity, were nothing but a game he could call a halt to at any time. I stopped in my tracks. Standing across from him, there were only a few inches of distance between us, but our hearts were separated by an entire world.
Sebastian,
I looked into his eyes and asked softly,
do you really think I must marry you?
Sebastian was taken aback for a moment. Then he sneered out loud.
Who else? Besides who could tolerate your bad temper? Besides the Ashford family who is worthy of your Walker family? Eleanor, accept your fate. In this life, you are destined to only be the woman of me, Sebastian Ashford.
He was too confident. Confident to the point of conceit. He thought that by grasping my weakness, he could trample on my bottom line unscrupulously. I lowered my eyes, hiding the mockery in my gaze.
Is that so? Then let's see. Exactly who is the one who should accept their fate?
I took a deep breath, slowly raised my right hand, and reached into that pitch black box. My fingertips touched the cold paper. 1 slip, 2 slips, countless slips. Each one was like a knife, cutting into my heart. There was absolute silence below the stage. Lillian stood at the forefront of the crowd, a victor's smile on her lips. She knew the box was full of blank papers. She was waiting to see me make a fool of myself in public and cry bitterly. Sebastian also looked away casually, seeming to have already foreseen the ending. I closed my eyes. My fingers fumbled at the bottom of the box. Finally, my fingertips touched a slip of paper with a slightly different texture. That was the one. I had someone slip in during the chaos before entering, and it was also the final way out I left for myself. I snapped my eyes open. With a strong flick of my wrist, I pulled out that slip of paper.
Young Master Ashfield.
I held up the slip in my hand, my voice clear, spreading throughout the hall.
It seems your promise is about to become invioled.
Sebastian's casual expression froze on his face. He subconsciously looked at the slip in my hand. A trace of confusion flashed in his eyes. Impossible. He clearly had personally replaced all the slips with names with blank ones, even just to be safe. Right before the banquet started, he had specifically checked again. There absolutely could not be any words in the box.
Eleanor, who are you trying to scare with a blank piece of paper?
He scoffed coldly.
Stop making a scene and letting everyone laugh at us.
Whether it's a blank paper or not, won't we know once it read out loud?
A bright, radiant smile curled at the corners of my lips.
Since young Master Ashford don't believe it, then invite a highly respected elder to read it.
I looked at the patriarch of the Walker family below the stage, who was also my grandfather.
Grandfather, please help your granddaughter check. Whose name is written on this?
Grandfather leaned on his cane and tremblingly walked up to the stage. He took the slip from my hand, unfolded it. The eyes widened fiercely. Immediately after, he burst into a hearty laugh.
Good, it's destiny. This is the arrangement of destiny.
The unease in Sebastian's heart grew stronger and stronger. He abandoned all etiquette, rushing forward to see what was going on.
Grandfather, let me see it.
But Grandfather suddenly put away the slip, turned around, facing the hundreds of guests below.
According to the century-old family rules of the Walker and Ashford families, Miss Eleanor Walker has successfully drawn her husband in the 8th destiny drawing. This is the arrangement of destiny.
The whole crowd was in an uproar. Mrs. Ashford was moved to tears. The smile on Lillian's face stiffened, her nails digging deeply into her flesh. Sebastian was struck as if by lightning.
Impossible! The box clearly!
The words reached his lips, but he forcefully swallowed them back down. He couldn't say it. Saying it would mean admitting he cheated. It would mean admitting he lied to Eleanor. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down.
Grandfather, did you misread it? How is this possible?
Why is it impossible?
I took the slip back from Grandfather's hand, slowly unfolded it, displaying it in front of everyone, black ink on white paper. The strokes were vigorous and powerful, clearly writing, Alexander Thorne,